Maya was 7 years old, and the world had always been quieter for her than it was for everyone else. Born deaf, she had learned to read the language of hands before. She could even understand why other children spoke with their mouths. She lived with her father, Daniel, a single dad who had raised her alone ever since. Her mother walked out 3 years ago, unable to cope with the challenges of raising a child with special needs. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from. Daniel worked double shifts at a warehouse and came home every evening exhausted, but he never once forgot to sign "I love you" to Maya before she fell asleep. Their apartment was small, their budget was tight, but their bond was unbreakable. One afternoon in late October, Daniel picked Maya up from her school for the deaf and noticed she was unusually quiet, even for her. She sat in the back seat, her little fingers twisting in her lap, her eyes darting to the rearview mirror every few seconds. Daniel caught her gaze in the mirror and signed, "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Maya hesitated for a long moment, then slowly raised her hands and signed something that made Daniel's blood run cold. "He won't stop following me." Daniel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. He kept his voice calm, though his heart was hammering. He pulled the car to the side of the road, turned around and gently signed back. "Who, baby?" "Who is following you?" Maya pointed out the back window at a dark blue sedan that had slowed to a stop about half a block behind them. Daniel stared at the car. It had been behind them since they left the school. He had noticed it vaguely, but dismissed it as coincidence. Now, with his daughter's terrified eyes watching him, he realized it was anything but. He pulled out his phone and called 911, keeping Maya's hand in his while he spoke to the dispatcher, describing the car, the plate number, and their location. Within minutes, 2 police cruisers appeared. The blue sedan tried to make a U-turn, but was quickly blocked in. Officers approached the vehicle with their hands on their belts. Daniel stepped out of his car, positioning himself between the cruisers and Maya, who pressed her small face against the window, watching everything with wide, frightened eyes. What the officers discovered inside that car shook everyone who heard about it. The man behind the wheel was not a stranger to the local authorities. He was a registered predator who had been released from prison 8 months earlier and had been quietly watching children outside schools in the area. Inside his car, officers found printed photographs of Maya, taken over several days, showing her outside her school, in the parking lot near the playground. He had been tracking her for weeks. When Daniel was told what was found, he had to sit down on the curb because his legs simply gave out. He put his face in his hands for a moment, and then he felt 2 small arms wrap around his neck. Maya had climbed out of the car and found him. She pulled back and looked at his face, then signed with the steady, matter-of-fact certainty only a child can manage. "I told you, Daddy. I knew something was wrong." Daniel pulled her close and held her so tight she squirmed. He whispered into her hair, "You were so brave. You saved yourself." The man was taken into custody immediately and was later charged with stalking and violations of his parole conditions. Investigators confirmed he had targeted Maya, specifically because he believed a deaf child would not be able to report him, that she would have no voice, no way to communicate the danger she was in. He had underestimated her completely. Because Maya did have a voice, it moved in the graceful arc of her fingers, in the precise language her father had spent years learning alongside her so that she would never feel alone. When the story made its way through the community, people were stunned, not just by how close the situation had come to becoming a tragedy, but by the courage of a 7-year-old girl who noticed, who remembered, who spoke up in the only way she knew how, and whose father listened. Daniel later told a neighbor, "People think being deaf means you can't communicate. Maya communicates more clearly than most adults I know. She saw something wrong and she told me. That's all it took." Maya went back to school the following Monday wearing a bright yellow jacket her father had bought her over the weekend. When her teacher asked how she was feeling, Maya signed without missing a beat, "Safe," and she meant it. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness True Stories, where real moments of courage, love, and humanity remind us what truly matters.